national secrets. This is a potential breach of the Official Secrets Act. It involves the royal family, it involves senior members of government, and who knows, behind it all, maybe even Epstein could have been working for the Putin regime. I believe that this is bigger than Profumo.
This is my video update on this Friday afternoon, February the 6th, coming to you from Larnaca, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with 008, Kier Stamer, who is in big trouble. 008 is in trouble. The Zelensky curse, or should we call it the Mandalson curse, or maybe a little bit of both, as I almost trip up, but I did not fall. But Stamer's toast. He is toast. He's done. Stick a fork in him. Stick a fork in juicy Kier. He is cooked. Yeah, Labor, the reports are they're looking for a Starmer replacement. They're already trying to figure out who can take over from Starmer because of the Mandalson Epstein scandal. Appointing Mandalson ambassador of the UK to the United States, and Mandalson allegedly given up some secrets, some state secrets as well. And Starmer knew all about Mandalson and Epstein. His entire administration knew everything about Mandalson and Epstein. But they still kept him on board with the party. He had to resign as ambassador to the United States, but he was still hanging around. And if it wasn't for this document release from the United States, then Mandalson would still be hanging around the halls of power. So anyway, Starmer is not looking so good. The BBC says call for PM Kier Stamer to resign amid Mandalson scandal. Politico says Starmer apologizes to Epstein victims for appointing Mandalson. So many people with power failed you, the Prime Minister said in comments directed at the victims of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. That's right. Starmer had to say sorry to the victims of Epstein, to the people of the UK. Sorry that he got caught is what he really meant with his apology, in my opinion. We all knew about Mandalson and Epstein. We knew all about it. But because the DOJ, thanks to Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, they were forced to release the documents, we got busted. Makes you wonder. The documents are going to be released. I mean, the pressure was already being put on the Trump administration months ago for the documents to eventually be released. So it was only a matter of time before you were going to get some sort of big Epstein document dump. Why did Starmer and the people around Starmer not dispose of Mandalson earlier? Get rid of him 3-4 months ago, or get rid of him right after the scandal broke out from the previous document release, and he had to resign as ambassador of the UK to the United States. He had to leave that post. Why didn't they just get rid of him then? Why didn't they just distance themselves from him back then? It really shows you their hubris, their arrogance, their belief that they're untouchable. So, we could be getting a new prime minister in the UK very soon. We'll see who Labour digs up, who they come up with Is it going to be that Rayner person, or who else? That West Streeting guy? They're not going to be any better than Stamer, but it will buy labor some time, I guess. Nigel Farage, he is talking up the Russian Russian connection to Epstein. Nigel Farage, man. What happened to you? What happened to you? They got to Farage. Reform is now just the Conservative Party rebranded, reconstituted and rebranded. That's what Reform is. And Farage, well, he's part of the establishment club now. He said that Epstein could have been some sort of Russian agent. Okay, Farage, you keep on pushing out your fantasy propaganda to try to cover up for the powers that be. Trying to blame Russia. Pathetic and sad. Poor Nigel Farage. He may be the next prime minister of the UK. They got to him, though. They got to him. So the BBC ran an article with the title, "Mandelsson offered to help Epstein get Russian visa, documents suggest." Some Russian agent Epstein is, huh? Maybe Mandelsson is the Russian agent. If Epstein has to go to Mandelsson to get a visa for Russia, then maybe Mandelsson is the Putin puppet, right? Maybe Kier Stamer is the Putin puppet. I don't know. Maybe it's Mandelsson and Kier Stamer who's the Putin puppet. Maybe you're the Putin puppet. Maybe I'm the Putin puppet. Maybe all of these people are Putin spies. Putin spies are everywhere. Oh boy. Yeah. So according to the BBC, Epstein, who was working for the Russian government and who was working for Russian President Vladimir Putin, allegedly working for Putin, had to go to the UK's Mandelsson to try and help him get a visa to go to Russia. Okay. Oh, wow. Amazing stuff. Even Germany's Welt, they're getting in on some of the Russian spy action with Epstein, and they put out an article with the title, "The Evidence of a Russian Spy Operation." And they have a photo of Epstein there, wearing a shirt with the American flag. Interesting imagery used by the German propaganda outlet. So what's going on in Norway with Epstein? What is going on with all the connections in Norway with Epstein? So we have the whole Peace Prize has some sort of Epstein angle to it. We have the princess, who definitely has some connection to Epstein, some long-standing connections to Epstein. She had to even apologize about her lack of judgment for hanging out with Epstein. And now you have the former Prime Minister of Norway, Mr. Torbjørn Jagland, who is now under investigation over alleged Epstein corruption. He's the guy that Epstein sent him an email, I believe this is the guy, and asked him to hook him up with Lavrov so that eventually he can get some sort of meeting with Putin. I'm telling you, Epstein is probably the worst connected Russian spy in the world. He has to get visas from Mandelsson. He has to get the ex-prime minister of Norway to try and hook him up through Lavrov so that he can get to Moscow. What kind of a freaking KGB spy was Epstein, man? Jeez. Telling you. Guy had difficulties getting meetings in Moscow and making his way to Russia. He needed all of these Europeans to help him out. The British establishment needed to help him out. So this former Prime Minister of Norway is now under investigation for corruption. He wrote some pretty damning emails to Epstein. Not only geopolitical or, let's say, politics related, but also about women and girls. His emails to Epstein were many and exposed some sort of a deep connection or friendship between the two. A dangerous street to walk on. No sidewalks, nothing. Cars whizzing by. So the WEF, I was thinking the WWF. Now the WEF, the World Economic Forum, they're going to be investigating themselves for some sort of Epstein connections. The CEO of the WEF, he has called an investigation into himself for his alleged ties to Epstein. I'm sure that investigation is going to go nowhere. Borge Brende, the World Economic Forum, will now investigate itself after it was revealed that its CEO, Brende, was in direct contact with trafficker Epstein. Need to cross over. It's not much of a sidewalk, but it's something. So you got the UK establishment, you got Norway going all the way up to royalty in Norway, going all the way up to former prime ministers, and even the Pispras, Doliak. And you have the WEF. Not looking good for the rules-based order. Collective West, is it? So the OSCE rolled into town in Moscow. They rolled into Moscow. The Organization of Security and, I believe, Cooperation in Europe. They, along with the Swiss foreign minister as well, they decided to take a trip to Moscow and to meet with Lavrov. And the reason for this is because the OSCE, let's go this way, because the OSCE is in trouble. They're in financial trouble. They're in reputational trouble. They're going bust, the OSCE. You have something like 57 countries which are participants in this organization, which is supposed to promote stability and cooperation in Europe, and they've done a piss-poor job of doing that. And according to Lavrov, and he told them this to their face, and good on Lavrov for telling them this to their face, they've been taken over by NATO, by the EU, and of course by Le Gobelin Vert, otherwise known as the Green Goblin. Ukraine, Project Ukraine, yeah, they've been taken over, hijacked. And they're no longer an independent, sovereign institution looking to promote peace and security, but they're just another tool of the empire of the collective West. But they're running out of money, and they're running out of support. And they can see that the conflict in Ukraine that they supported and that they backed and that they helped create, going all the way back to 2014 and going all the way back to 2022, when I believe it was the OSCE that was supposed to be monitoring the Minsk agreements and the ceasefire on the contact line in accordance with the Minsk agreement. They were doing a terrible job. They were looking away at all the firing that the Ukraine military was sending towards Donbass. All of the artillery shells and everything that they were firing into Donbass and Donetsk. I think that was the OSCE that was supposed to be keeping all of that in check and monitoring it. And they did a terrible job. But now they're crawling back to Moscow, crawling to Russia to see if they can be saved somehow. So we had the negotiations between Russia and Ukraine that wrapped up in Abu Dhabi. And yesterday, as the negotiations wrapped up, which did lead to some positives, the one positive that it led to is that the United States and Russia have agreed to resume very, very high-level military cooperation and military contact, which is an excellent outcome, absolutely necessary, something that Biden completely destroyed, but something that the world needs for the two militaries at a very high level to be in contact and communicating. So that has been reestablished, or it's on the road to being reestablished. And which way should I go? Let's go down. Yeah, let's go down. And then you also had a prisoner exchange, a prisoner of war, POW swap that also took place, for which Russia came out ahead because Russia, I believe, actually got civilians back that Ukraine had. Russia has many, many more prisoners of war than Ukraine does, and actually the reports are, the claims are, that Ukraine actually has Russian civilians, mostly from the failed disastrous incursion into Kursk, but they did take civilians according to various reports. And so it does look like Russia got those civilians back. So there were some good outcomes to these meetings, good results to the meetings that took place. But nothing towards some sort of a deal or a resolution to the actual conflict. Nothing like that is happening, or I imagine is going to happen. I mean, not with the current makeup of the teams, but after the negotiations wrap up, right? One of the main negotiators for Russia, who is the head of the military intelligence, the GRU, the general aide to Mr. Kutsikov, the GRU, yep. He is the main negotiator for Russia, and he's in Abu Dhabi negotiating. The negotiations wrap up, and his aide was there was an attempted assassination on his aide. Allegedly, Ukraine tried to take out the negotiators, the main negotiators, second in command. Isn't that effed up? That's freaking effed up. Here you are negotiating, and the people that you're sitting across from on the other side of the table, and you're supposedly negotiating in good faith, right? You're there in Abu Dhabi. You've gone through 3 rounds of negotiations, and the minute those negotiations end, they try to take out your second in command, your subordinate. They try to assassinate him. allegedly. Lavrov basically said in a statement that he has no doubts that it was Ukraine that was behind the attempted assassination. I believe that General Vladimir Alexeyev, who was targeted in the assassination attempt, I believe he has survived. But he was shot several times in the back inside of a residential building, and he has been hospitalized. What does that tell you about these negotiations when the collective West media and all of the leaders in the collective West talk about how Russia is not negotiating in good faith? Give me a break. They just tried to take out the chief negotiator's number 2 right after the negotiations conclude. So the military is going to be furious. I imagine many top Russian officials, top members of the Security Council are going to be furious. They're going to probably tell Russian President Putin, what are we doing? What are we doing negotiating with these guys? You call up Trump, or Trump calls you up, hang up the phone, and a couple of hours later, drones are being sent into your Valdai residence. We have our chief negotiator in Abu Dhabi. The moment that negotiations conclude, his second in command is, they try to assassinate his second in command. So that's big news, and we'll see exactly what comes of this. I believe Putin called a Security Council meeting as I'm recording this video, so they could try to figure out what is going to be the Russian response to this. So we'll do a couple more stories, and then we'll wrap up this video. We also have the talks that took place in Oman between Iran and the United States. And my understanding of things is that these talks were quick, very quick. Kushner, Witkoff on the U.S. side, Barakchi, the foreign minister of Iran, on the Iranian side. And the U.S. had a lot of demands for Iran. Iran just wanted to talk about uranium enrichment and the nuclear program. By the way, you have Russia offering to hold the Iranian uranium, something that Russia is very well qualified to do. Of course, Russia always says that if this was agreed to, the uranium would, of course, be Iran's, and they would have to make the decision if they would like Russia to hold it. But it would be Iran's uranium, and it would be Iran that would have to make the decision whether they would want Russia to take hold of it. But there are solutions to the uranium enrichment issue. Russia presented one. Russia presented a very good solution, a very good off-ramp to war. But it looks like the talks broke down because the U.S. demands were many and too much for Iran to agree to. For example, some reports claim that Kushner and Witkoff, they told Iran that they're going to have to cut off oil supplies to China in order to avoid a conflict. It's almost like they're making demands knowing that they're going to be too much for Iran to accept. What's up, my friend? Like Iran's going to be able to accept those types of terms. So the talks ended quickly, is my understanding of things. And as the talks ended, you had warnings once again from the U.S., from the U.S. State Department, telling American citizens in Iran or in the general area to get out, to leave. So it looks like we're back on war footing, back on regime change operation footing. There was also a report that claimed, I forgot the publication, but they claimed, according to their sources, that Kushner is working with Iranian business people in the United States, people that have left Iran and that are now powerful business executives. And they're working on some sort of a replacement government in case the current government in Iran collapses. This is, actually, let's go this way. I think I know where I am now. Kind of done a circle, but I do that often. I'm often walking around in circles. So yeah, Kushner, according to this report, is already working with various Iranians in the United States to think about a government if there is some sort of a collapse because of a conflict and a regime change operation. So that's an update there. NBC News is reporting that the Trump administration has more than 450 Tomahawk missiles in the Middle East. 450 Tomahawks in the Middle East and ready to be used. This is according to NBC News. So Medvedev, he posted on X, once again, on the breakdown of the START treaty. He posted, the U.S. State Department has called New START flawed as it didn't cover tactical nuclear weapons or include China. Really? What about the UK and France? Hypersonic weapons. Washington's statement means one thing. There'll never be a treaty under these terms. Be honest. Yeah, he's right about that. Trump doesn't want the New START treaty renewed. Actually, I think Trump even said as much. Trump said in a statement that the New START treaty was a badly negotiated deal and it needs to be renegotiated. And he said that he's going to appoint U.S. nuclear experts to come up with a new deal. The same exact thing with the JCPOA, isn't it? Same exact thing with the JCPOA. Trump did not like the way it was negotiated, even though it was working and it was internationally accepted. He didn't like the deal, badly negotiated, and he pulled out of it, dissolved the entire JCPOA, and here we are today on the brink of a war. And now he is saying the same thing about the New START treaty. It's not good. Not good at all. Anyway, that is Medvedev's post on X. The Speaker of the Parliament of Poland, he criticized Donald Trump. He criticized Trump, the way he's dealing with the Europeans. I guess he's upset with the way he's dealing with Europe. I guess he's upset with the way he's dealing with Project Ukraine. I don't know. He was very upset, the Parliament Speaker of Poland, very upset with Donald Trump. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I forgot to say, like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel. I feel like I've been stuck on 253,000 subscribers on YouTube forever. My God. My God. Anyway, and then he said, oh my God, then the Speaker of the Parliament, oh, here we are, the Speaker of the Parliament in Poland. Boy, he said the unthinkable. He said the unthinkable. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? I hope everyone's sitting down for this one. I hope everyone is sitting down for this one, because this is some pretty shocking stuff that the Speaker of the Parliament of Poland said. He rejected backing Trump. Oh boy, he rejected backing Trump for the 2026 Nobel Peace Prize. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh my God. I think the entirety of the government of Poland is now freaking out. I think the entire government, the entire political class of Poland is freaking out after that statement. Yeah. I believe the ambassador to Poland actually responded to this, saying that he will have no more dealings or communication with the parliament member of Poland, Mr. Czarzastu, whose outrageous and unprovoked insults directed against President Trump has made himself a serious impediment to our excellent relations with Prime Minister Tusk and his government. We will not permit anyone to harm U.S.-Polish relations nor disrespect Trump, who has done so much for Poland and the Polish people. Ambassador Tom Rose. Whoa. Wow. Yeah, I don't think this parliament member in Poland is going to be a parliament member for much longer. I think his days are numbered. I can see an apology coming from him right about now. Right? Anyway, let's do some clown worlds, and we can wrap up this Friday video. And we have some more Russian technology that is freaking out the UK. It looks like Putin has figured out a way to weaponize pigeons by placing neural chips in their brains. Neural chips and cameras. And he's weaponizing pigeons, according to the UK Telegraph, how Russia uses neural chips to turn live pigeons into drones. Birds have cameras strapped to chest and flight path dictated with a remote control. That's amazing. It's actually a pretty good idea, I guess. I don't know. I mean, get the pigeon, give them a neural chip, give them a camera, and they become a lethal drone. But it's bad for the pigeon, though, because I guess the pigeon dies, I guess. That's not good. Anyway, that Putin, what can you say? What can you say about that Russian president? What can you say about Russian scientists, huh? Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Neural chips in pigeons, equipped with cameras. And they're drones. Are they just spy drones, or are they attack drones? Maybe they do live. If they're spy drones, then they're fine. If they're spy drones, they're okay. But I don't know. I worry that maybe Putin is turning them into weapons as well. I don't know. Thank God we have the UK establishment and publications like the Telegraph to give us the truth about everything that the Kremlin is up to. Thank God for the UK Telegraph, huh? I think you guys can be in agreement with me on that one. They're doing good work at the Telegraph, exposing these sinister plans and plots from the Russian president. All right, I'm going to end it there. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on X. We are on Telegram. We're also on Rumble. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch, 26% off everything in the Duran shop. And also check us out on Substack. There's a link to our Substack in the description box down below. Take care, everyone.